So this is Coriolis, the Third Horizon. This is the Arabian Nights in space, air quotes. Their game from Free League Publishing. It uses the same core mechanics as Mutant Year Zero, Tales from the Loop, and they've got a forthcoming fantasy game whose name I don't remember. But this is a space opera game with a good deal of sort of Middle Eastern Arabian trappings on that. Last session we did character creation, and we did a little bit of setup to what's happening. We will take up sort of in medias res there in just a moment. But I want to have the players introduce their characters, give us the 1-minute pitch on them here in just a second. This is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts, an online community of gamers. We have a ton of games on the calendar each month. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com if you're so inclined. We've got podcasts as well, and they are pretty cool. So you can check that out. So I'm going to work across my screen from the right to left as per Arabic script. So I'm going to start with Patrick. Patrick, can you give us the 1-minute pitch on who your character is?
Yes, so I'm playing Ghazi, and my concept or sort of character class is fugitive with a subtype of mystic, which is someone who has had powers, mental powers, awakened by the presence of the emissaries and or strange governmental conspiracies, depending on your read. He's the only one that was smart enough to take money as a background. I don't know what these other pores are doing, but I have a ship, and I'm running away from my problems like a smart person does. He's got very fancy clothes. He's nice looking, if a little scruffier and less well kept than he would have been in his former life. Generals on his former life. He was from a very important rich family, much more responsible older sister. He was taken when he was fairly young, and some secret shadowy organization did experiments and things on him and awakened powers in him that he doesn't really understand. But he managed to escape, I think I'll say with the help of his sister, who knows where she is now. And he's been on the run ever since. Let's see, my personal icon is the merchant, so I'm always really good at finding money, which I suppose fits. And my mystical power is stop, which is sort of an interesting one, as I was thinking about trying to use it in play last time, but it's I can stop an NPC from performing an action. I can't get them to do something, but I can stop them from doing something they're about to do.
That's kind of cool.
No, it's I really like it. It's just it takes some twisted thinking to get it in there, right?
Do you suppose that you've told your crew, do they have a sense of exactly how much money you owe on the ship?
Oh, no. Did you not hear me? I'm rich.
Okay, yeah.
I can't go around telling people that I owe lots of money.
Yeah. So that is the Firefly-esque pull of the game, is you get a ship and it gives you a cost, like I think it's 1.6 million beer that you guys owe on the ship, and you have to pay 1% of that each sort of cycle to cover it. So they do have a mechanism in here for pushing players towards money.
Oh yeah, and to be clear, like my whole merchant icon thing is not you can find free money lying around. It's you can find predatory loans anytime you want.
Yes. You get your payday loans there. Next, we have Kef, the envoy.
Yeah, so Kef is the operator, and instead of choosing a normal sub-concept, I decided to go for envoy because this is living my best life, and it needs to be Eldred Carvin-esque. I'll be working towards, getting some wired reflexes or whatever they call that in this game. I don't care what it costs. I need it, lol. I need it. And yeah, so he's kind of a weird mix between assassin and spy, kind of, when I was looking at that. and I have the executioner talent, and as with everybody else in this crew, I am gorgeous.
Something we established quite clearly last session. Fair enough. Let's move on to Yalchin. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, that works. So Yelchin is our action archaeologist who has a bit of a drinking problem. And I only realized after we played the game that the reason it's called Kohol is because it's alcohol. So that's what it is.
Good catch.
Yeah. So yeah, that's his problem. And he happens to be our pilot also. He is... So he's from the planet. He is a first come, as they're called. He's not from the station. And he's a pleb, which gave him some better stats to begin with. But absolutely no money, which he's really struggling from right now, to the point that he even had to steal a knife from the person he just killed. Or that Kef killed, I guess. But anyway, so, and he's got, I guess, a bit of a mystery relating to how he got into archaeology. He also has a tattoo of a raven on his left forearm that is obviously very important to him. And he also has a very small, looks like an ancient raven figurine that he carries with him. And we can play into that later.
So do you imagine that tattoos are fairly common in this culture, or uncommon? Or just sort of a usual thing?
I would say that tattoos that are non-calligraphic, not out of calligraphy, would be relatively rare.
Oh, okay. That's a nice touch. I like that. And of course, there's all kinds of, subdermal tattoos and henna tattoos and all kinds of stylized. I like the idea that the calligraphic and sort of the signs and the icons all worked in there is the most common thing. Very nice. And finally, we have Kieran.
Yes. Kieran is a diplomat, but mostly she's kind of an adventure accountant. She is the only fiscally responsible one on the crew. And essentially, she was placed here by Ghazi's sister to watch over him, but she's not supposed to let on in that. And essentially, her icon is the Faceless, and she is geared up. She's all cybered up, and she's been sponsored, so she owes plenty of debt as well. But that's why she is as concerned about money as the thing. And essentially, her situation is she has to keep everyone happy, the crew least of all, but everyone back at home. She has a jealous fiance, and of course, she's being sponsored. If she can pull this off, she may have she may be married into a noble family and be set for life. But there's a lot in between then and now.
Perfect. So last time you were aboard of ship, you had completed a job. You had completed a task for a man named Hishyar Bado. And you essentially were above one of the planets, Mehrabi, the settlement there inside the Kwa system. That's a system that has a number of populated planets and has essentially Kwa, which is the home world that has the monolith, and Coriolis, the great station, is above it. But you are a couple planets out from that. And you were boarded. You were there to drop off and deliver this archaeological find that you had obtained quietly through certain means when you were quietly boarded. And you fought off the attackers and, in fact, shunted a few of them out into space. The attached sort of boarding craft disengaged and was jetting away when it was struck by particle beam and was destroyed. And you will see a larger, more well-armed ship even than your own in the area, essentially as that sort of the flames explode, and then all that oxygen is used up, and there's a drift there, and Ghazi, the AI that has been reset, will say incoming message for the captain.
So I just had a couple questions before we start.
Absolutely. Yeah.
One was for Christo, and I just wanted to check in because I when you said Yelchin was first comer, I put some religious beliefs and prejudices sort of on you, and I just wanted to check in with how you felt with that.
Nice.
Well, you remember in the last scene, he started off in the chapel.
Okay.
So he's definitely religious.
More than just the lip service, he is more strongly devoted.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you stand on? Because I had sort of made the beginning of our relationship a little bit with you being prejudiced against me because of demonic powers or whatever. Where do you stand on that?
Well, no, I don't think that'll be an issue per se.
It was in my mind. It was something that we'd evolved out of. I just didn't know if you wanted that in our past or not.
If you think it'll be interesting, we can play that up.
You are not being helpful, either of you.
Damn it, cat!
We've now established that there is a cat on the ship. All right.
That works.
Sorry. My other question was a general system one about the skill data gen and the sort of that whole thing. What does that mean? Is that a culturally different way of saying computer wizard, or are there actually little things, or what?
That is in fact another way. That is their fancy name for computer whiz.
Okay.
Essentially, you are as skilled as sort of the jinn or the genies in being able to modify and work with the data and be a hacker.
Cool. Those are the ones I wanted to check in on.
Oh no, that's fair enough. Anybody else questions?
Yeah, I was going to raise. Is it okay if I swap my relationships?
Yes, absolutely.
Because I wanted to swap the people, not the relationships themselves, but the people, to make it maybe a little bit more interesting. So I wanted to have it be, if this is okay with the players, so that I'm now intimidated by Kieran because she's so smart and commanding and has it together, and Ghazi is so beautiful, but he will never notice me. Is that okay? Does that work?
Cool. I'm into it.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. It is a good time at the beginning of session to check in on PC buddies and relationships and things like that. It's your opportunity to make those shifts, so that you can set those up for what's happening in the particular session and use those to shape your experience point questions at the end of session.
Yeah, I think that new one with Yelchin will actually be interesting because I did set you as my PC buddy because I'm feeling so reliant on you for information about what's going on with me. So that makes a really interesting dynamic if I'm coming to you and needing things and you have this secret emotions.
Yeah. Christo, did you still want to be an alcoholic, by the way? I felt that we pushed that on you a little bit.
True.
I'm okay with it. I can play that. I'm always happy to be the rainmaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
How much do you think the rest of the crew is aware of your drinking? Have you kept it a secret? Or do they see you drink and they think it's right at this point just kind of sociable? Or do they go, oh my?
I guess it depends how long we've been together. But I was going to say that I don't think they can doubt that I drink because unless alcohol and our bodies behave differently, there's probably a certain amount of, what do we call it, after you drink a lot.
Ketones.
Yes, exactly. So I don't think that, but I think he probably has a thing that he never drinks and drives.
Okay.
Although if we get pulled into battle and he's been drunk, then that's a different story. But
very different story at that point. All right. Any other questions? incoming message for the captain. Will you accept the call?
So yeah, I think I had been like sprinting down the corridor towards the cockpit at the last time, so I like come rushing in and I sort of slam the button. Yeah, on call. Let it in.
Greetings. I'm going to take it from the ship and the bodies floating in space that you were able to successfully repel the borders. I want to confirm the captain's code to make sure that the captain is in fact still in command of the ship. If you could broadcast that, it would be much appreciated.
Yes, thank you. Your assistance was very timely. We had just managed to off the borders, but we're in a bad situation to deal with the ship itself. Here is the code coming through now, and I'm Captain Ghazi. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking to?
I am the captain of the ship. However, my superior, my employer here, wishes to speak with you, so I will pass you over to him, if that is all right with you, Captain.
Oh, certainly. We would love to share our gratitude.
Excellent. And there'll be a switch in the comm, and you will hear, Isaac, I hope that we have not been too rude. I have to offer you apologies. We fired closer to your ship than we would have liked. As is common courtesy, we will pay for repairs, and we will arrange for your maintenance for this cycle as a result of this matter that we had to deal with. I hope that will be sufficient to you. My name is written down here, but we'll change the page. So hang on one moment.
It's a very complicated name.
Jesus wept. I am Rahane Izidian. I am a legalist here, licensed within the Coriolis system.
It's a legalist?
Like, he's saying he's kind of a lawyer, but it's a larger sphere of influence. Like
a lawyer with laser cannons?
Because I am the executor for particular wishes of a family within the Coriolis system. As the matter is somewhat complicated. I will tell you what
families within the Coriolis system tend to be, as I understand.
That is true. As I understand it, you were hired by Mr. Botto.
Yes, I wanted to say the offer for maintenance is greatly appreciated, as being stranded out in the dark is never an enjoyable prospect. But your apologies are totally unnecessary. I personally would have been happier even if you'd fired on them closer to our ship. It was a good act of timing that you managed to show up when you did.
We have been pursuing them. That was the final steps in our clearance of Mr. Botto's the contract regarding his estate. But this is perhaps not a good thing to be speaking of on open channel. We are headed to Coriolis from here. If you would accompany us, I will arrange for your docking fees and maintenance fees and the repairs, if any of those are necessary. I understand that from my notes here that Mr. Botto had you under contract. We will, of course, pay that contract off. And if you wish to turn over whatever you obtained for him, or if you wish, we will pay you a 10% retainer fee. You may keep the item, and we will have you sign some contracts releasing us from any responsibility.
And just real quick, were we heading back to Coriolis to drop this off?
No, you were actually here to get Bado to turn this over to Bado here, and you were waiting on him. So I hope that will be appropriate. Again, I apologize. You've entered into a complicated situation that I would
starting to get that sense.
I would dearly love the chance to get this cleared up so that I can tie up the last loose ends of this matter, and perhaps offer you further employment.
Certainly. We'd be happy to follow you back towards Coriolis. Unfortunately, I fear some of our engine areas were hit in that last explosion, so we may be going a little slow for your sake, and I'm very sorry for that. But again, our gratitude is endless, and it would be so wonderful if you or maybe a representative, we would love to host you on our ship, get to know you a little better, and share some of our fine cooking with you, and just show our gratitude in the simplest way we can right now.
See, I don't trust you. And I say that in the most simple way. You were hired by Mr. Bado, whose reputation is, let us say, less than sterling. So perhaps we can meet on neutral grounds in Coriolis, a place of your choosing in one of the main decks. And I can, rather than having you land at a berth of my choosing, I can place money in an account for you to arrange the berths of your own choice.
It's a very sensible approach to life out here in the horizon.
We will head on, and you may make that decision as you wish. And hopefully I will send you, you will be sending me a note that you will be indulging in my hospitality. Does that seem fair?
Seems endlessly fair. It's been an entirely enjoyable interaction with you, Mr. Asadian.
And he will head off, and there's some essentially some notations and notes, letters of credit that are transferred via blockchain to your ship.
I think
it's literally a blockchain. It's a chain of blocks that's sent over.
I think as soon as the screen goes dark, like Ghazi collapses in one of the chairs, and he's like wiping sweat from his face and panting because that all happened real quick.
Let's cut to then Kieran, you're down in the cargo area. You established that the ship has these like ceramic steel tiling everywhere that very much everything is done in that sort of almost looking like glazed tile. And then here in the cargo bay particularly, you have the different like hexes or squares of that, and you've pulled that up to hide the item that you obtained for Bado, the tablet.
Yes, exactly. Like the cargo boxes are also that sort of ceramic as well, because it's very strong, and of course, and all the ship circuitry runs through it. So.
Yeah, so there's they connect together. They can get turned in modular ways. That makes sense.
Right. Of course, right now she's standing there bleeding all over these lovely tiles, and there's a couple of dead people, and
Yes.
And I figure she probably walks barefoot everywhere, so it's particularly unpleasant. So I'm thinking that we probably have some sort of auto cleaning thing, right?
Sure. What do the auto cleaning things look like here? Are they little space Roombas?
Yeah, they almost would be, but they also have that beautiful tile all over them. So because again, they're completely handled by the ship. So if the ship has control over it, it's that tile.
So they will when you give the signal here, they will roll out. They'll start washing away your bloody footprints as you walk across. They'll bump up against the bodies because they can't clean those. But they'll start going around. There's that bit where they stop and they have to whir as they get like anything thicker than blood. They have to clean up there. Did you shoot people? I can't remember. Stab people.
I stabbed them with my
Okay.
mercurium knife.
All right. So there is a great deal of blood, but no, say, other visceral matter that they have to deal with.
Is there anything on them that gives us a hint to what was going on with them?
So you'll take a look. They do have very basic sort of the suits for the essentially quick traversal. Nothing that would last. It's all very cheap. They have the look of hired thugs. Essentially lower tier criminals sent here. They do have inexact blueprints of your ship because it is a standard layout. They have that, but it doesn't correspond because your ship has been changed and rebuilt since then. And they also have very much the same document that you got from Bado describing the tablet and what it looks like. And in fact, it is exactly that same thing.
But it wasn't Bado's ship that attacked us, was it?
You don't know. But certainly you haven't heard anything from Bado, except for when you first arrived, there was a signal from him saying that, or from his people saying that you should remain in orbit and they would be delayed in picking up the object. So yeah, you can drag the bodies, get the Roombas going, and they will clean those up. Let's then cut to Kef and Yelchin. What are you doing?
I think we'll be doing the same thing with the body, right? Looking for clues as to what has happened. I think we're probably all suspicious if they were like, just wait there, that we get attacked.
Yeah, and you will check at the one of the people there has essentially a quick vid with your faces and names and essentially rank of perceived danger. And Kef, you are pleased because you are listed at the top as must eliminate.
I show it and I'm like, look at this. They didn't even get good angles on us. So sloppy.
It does look like, judging from the room that you're seeing in the little hollow vids, that this is probably footage taken from when you first met with Bado, that he was recording the meet.
It's definitely Bado. We gotta. I get fired up. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's Bado. We need to kill him. That's what I say to you.
And I guess the question is, was the transmission of the captain discussing, was that broadcast to all of us, or was it just so we don't know that yet?
That's entirely up to Ghazi.
Okay.
No, it wasn't yet, and he's panting for a few minutes, so wallow in ignorance.
Nice. Well, I guess. What?
Go on. No, go on.
I was just gonna say we probably go to talk to the captain, right?
Yeah. Well, I figure we want the weapons the guy has, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Gotta loot the bodies. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't have any money.
So you will see that they have standard boarding needlers. They are essentially pistols that are do a lot of damage to people, but armor stops them like cold, and they won't go through bulkheads or anything like that. So they're used for ship interior actions when you don't want to have any problems.
Okay.
And he had a knife of some sort, if I recall.
Yeah, all of them have pretty basic standard, not vibro or anything like that, but standard boarding knives.
I like that. There's a concept, a boarding knife. And
Yeah, that's what I said too. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I guess this happens.
It's probably a utility knife. You know, it has the little like oxygen meter on it and that kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah, so I imagine we're probably going to search it for any identification or anything else that we might find. If we found that video or whatnot, then any other information we can get, and then throw the body out. I don't know if we have a recycler for them or if we throw them out into space.
That's entirely your choice. Do you think you guys can recycle bodies, or do you think you have to pitch them out?
I don't know. It seems like it would be likely that we would make use of everything, right? Especially given the history that you've told us about. It's very do-it-yourself. So
You could certainly put them in the compost for the ship.
There we go.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably what we do. We probably have like some sort of big recycler that we can throw stuff like this in.
Okay. And you will find basic IDs. Again, it does seem like these are low-level thugs from the planet below. That is your sense of it.
So we don't. There's no does Botto mark his men or women or whatever that work for him or anything like that?
Not that you've seen.
Okay. Well. Yeah.
I didn't pick up. Were all over the borders men?
Probably a couple of women. I think I mentioned it. There's at least one woman in the fight there.
Okay.
So I put my hand on Yeltsin's shoulder and I'm like, "It's Botto. We gotta kill him."
You could be right. It does look like that, doesn't it? Because that image, it had to be somebody close to him or him.
Have you ever watched vids? This is exactly what happens in the vids. The classic Godfather.
I don't watch snuff vids.
Yeah.
There's some argument about the moral integrity of various vids as you come into. I'm assuming there's like we'll say there's a meeting room close by the bridge, essentially the kind of the scramble room, and the four of you. What do you suppose the medical treatment looks like for you, Kieran, as you come in?
I assume that I'm guessing that to some extent blood is a little bit unclean, so that the first thing that with all the medical treatment is that you're actually putting a set of robes or shrouds on. That's what the med thing works through. So essentially it's a set of sensors and things like that. And so you probably got that on, and then it's all of the the cauterizing or however they do the sealing of the wound happens through that.
Okay. Yeah, and it makes sense simply because free liquids like that on a spaceship are very dangerous. Mm-hmm. They can stay around. They can get into the systems. And of course, when the gravity's off, as it was, the blood flew everywhere. So the Roombas are probably up on the ceilings and things like that in that boarding area. But yeah, you four can meet up there. How did either Kef or Yelchin, did either of you take damage?
I took a little bit of damage, didn't I? Yeah.
Yeah. And Kieran, I can't remember if you did as well. Not Kieran, our Captain Ghazi.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So there's definitely people kind of struggling in here, wounded and bedded up.
I just have a little slice.
Strategically?
Yeah.
Have you gone and put on clothing at this point?
Oh, yeah. I'm not just... Yeah.
So Ghazi, your crew is assembled.
And I'm like, Botto, and I slam my fist on the table, and it shakes a little. I'm like, Botto's the one. We got to get him. Nobody does this to me. My scarred flesh.
Well, we may be looking for someone else, since apparently, at least legally speaking, Botto is dead.
Well, let's kill him twice.
All of his contracts have been bought out by a very secretive third party thus far, although helpful. And I'll give them the rundown of the conversation and say, like, I'll definitely point out how, like, I cleverly lied about our engines, which are working fine. I hope they're working fine, right? They're still working. So we've got some time to get there, and we're not quite flying into their home dock.
He's doing a Greedo's gambit where they declare bankruptcy and disappear because he's, doesn't have money. I bet that we can find him. He's not dead.
I'm going to
Scum
look
like that
blankly
never
at the
dies.
other two. Is this another one of the movie things that he goes on about?
I think Karen looks as confused.
He's alive. Trust me.
And I think Yelchin is just ignoring him.
I pout on a plastic white
Look,
seat in space.
I agree with you. It seems really convenient that Bado died in the half an hour that we were waiting in orbit to talk to him, and suddenly all of his contracts, holdings, and assets have been transferred over to other parties without any problems or complications along the way.
That's what I'm saying. Greedo's gambit.
All right. Do you want me to write that one down? Are you going to use that a lot?
Anyway, what are we going to do about this?
I'm open to suggestions. If we want any money for the thing, stone tablet, right?
Yeah.
If we want anything for the rock, then looks like Coriolis is our stop.
It would be
Sure.
good to get paid.
Show some respect. It's an ancient artifact.
Okay, if we want to get any money for the ancient rock, we've got to go to Coriolis.
Like that. I laugh.
And I think Yelchin gets a little upset by this and says, I'm going to go analyze this while you decide what to do. And storm out and go into whatever he uses as a lab to analyze it.
Okay.
I'm going to have to deal with that later.
I wiped tears of mirth from my face, and I'm like, I needed that.
Are you all right, Kev? You look like you've been attractively cut.
Yeah, they always attractively cut me these days, and I rub another scar that's quite attractive on my left.
Oh God, Kieran, save us.
Too late.
And you look worse for wear, Captain. Are you all right?
Well, no, actually, I got shot a lot, right here in my lungs, and it really hurts.
Yeah, you should try getting attractively shot. That's what I do.
I'll keep that in mind next time.
Yeah, and I clap your. It's one of those moments where I clap your shoulder even though you're wounded, and it kind of hurts a little, because I'm.
Oh, it hurts a lot. It's so easy to knock me over. Anyways, this blood loss is making us loopy. We have to get back on target. We did take some damage to the ship. Anka's still cataloging all of it, but it'll be a little difficult to make all these repairs quickly and on our own. They have offered to pay for our repairs. They've offered to buy out our contract with the tablet.
Yes.
But I mean, Coriolis, it's the center of everything. It's where everyone's watching and where all the bad people live.
Right. But it feels like we can't afford to not accept this offer. It seems like the fates have set us up. Lol.
I was really hoping for other answers, but yeah, that's sort of the conclusion I'd come to too.
Yeah. Cut to
And
the
that seems-
spaceship limping to
Yeah.
Coriolis.
Not much damage. Essentially, when the ship was blown up next to you, you took some surface damage. The engines aren't affected.
Did you say the paint got scratched? Oh my God, we have
yeah.
to get there sooner.
Yes. The fine designs. You have a med lab. That's one of the specific things you took. So those of you who are injured can heal back up to full using the medical treatment on the ship, since you have a couple of hours of transit time here.
I've been robbed. It left no scar.
Yeah. Not deep enough. Yeah, I assume just a little bit of pain meds to cover that up. And I had the sense here as you were traveling that you wish to take a look at the tablet, Yelchin.
Yep.
Okay.
Definitely.
Then let me have you make a roll. This seems like probably culture is going to be the proper skill for this. Or actually science, I think, now that I think about it.
Because science is everything. Okay.
Yeah, it is the broad skill in this one.
So I just click the little 20-sided die, and that'll do it, right?
Yeah.
Limited success.
This definitely is essentially, it's not exactly portal builder design, but it's definitely not anything from First Comer or Zenithian. There's some other language and tech things in there, and there's definitely some interior circuitry to this piece. So it is pretty valuable. And if you could find someone who has some expertise in the language, might be able to get something from that.
So it's not portal builder?
Not portal builder.
Okay.
You'll confirm that, having had a chance to actually look seriously at it.
And the language, do I know what the language is called?
It looks like essentially one of the proto languages that they found bits and pieces of. There are a bunch of them around in the systems. The thought is that there were portal builders, and they left, and there were some decayed civilizations that faded out after they were gone, and there were various languages among them. So they're all different kinds of versions and dialects of that.
Okay. No imagery on it?
No, it looks like it's all text and interior circuitry.
And is the circuitry active?
It's not hooked up to anything, so at least right now it is not. You're not sure whether that's part of a machine or it actually has some information stored in it or what.
Should this be like $1 billion or something?
It's so fragmentary, no.
Oh.
These are the kinds of things that pop up from time to time in the hands of collectors. They have value.
Can we hook it up to our ship somehow? As in to like get information? You said it's circuitry.
Sure. You could hook it up to the ship.
Oh, yeah.
You're more than welcome to do that.
I mean, it does sound interesting, so I'm behind it, but it also might be a short season.
Well, I mean, we have an AI. Genre conventions insist that at some point we hook it directly into the AI.
Right,
Sure,
absolutely.
Might as well be episode 1.
And then the holodeck goes crazy, right? At that point.
Exactly. The chapel will just be bloody all the time.
Yeah.
Oh no, we have to stop Moriarty.
That's what I was just gonna say. Yeah, Moriarty.
So yes, you could.
Well, I'm not saying hook it up to like the whole ship, but like, hook it up to give it power so I can see what it does.
Definitely to the AI.
He means create a black box environment.
That would be a data gen roll.
Uh-oh. I don't know if I
Data
have data gen.
gen. I don't have
Ghazi,
that.
Patrick and Ghazi both would be totally into that, honestly.
Then it probably means that I would have taken it to one of you because I don't have that skill. So yeah, so I guess this is so who has the skills? Ghazi has it, and does Kieran have data gen?
Oh, it's
Ha.
just Ghazi.
No, it's just Ghazi.
Okay.
What I do have, though, is a bunch of bloody contract documents that I need cleaned. So I figure that we're all walking in together looking for someone to help us with these problems.
So I think Ghazi and Yelchin will actually be sober. That's one thing. So when he's like absorbed by archaeological work and puzzles like that, he doesn't drink. And I think he has also. I don't remember the situation before we were boarded, but part of the reasons I think he left the room so quickly when you were all on the med bay using that, his anger as an excuse was he wanted to sort of distract from the concept that probably he was on watch when the boarding happened. And he'd been drinking, so ended up in the chapel. So probably it was, he was supposed to be the one monitoring the perimeter, unless our AI was supposed to take care of that automatically. But so yeah, he'll be coming up to Ghazi with the tablet.
So, I mean, it's a rock.
It's not just a rock. It's got electronics in it. We can plug this in and see what it is. Why not find out what it did before we hand it over?
Seriously, like primitive wiring or something?
Some sort of, primitive. It looks like some sort of organic.
Huh. You show some like scans or schematics or something that you did?
Mm-hmm. Get the 3D representation that spins in the air, of course.
Yeah, it's like
is that circuitry in there?
That's what I'm trying to tell you, Ghazi.
Wow. Okay. So it's an interesting rock. Why didn't you say so?
I thought I did. I am very sorry, Basha. I should have said that earlier.
No. It's just you keep using words like religious significance and cultural importance, but you should have said interesting lost technology.
I'll remember that moving forward.
Well,
so can you hook it up?
Yeah. Anka's pretty good at hooking into things like this. We could run it through him.
Okay.
Giving you an opportunity to say, no, please don't do that.
No,
I have this black
stop.
box idea.
Don't.
No,
Well,
that wouldn't be for Yelchin to say. So this is on you.
Certainly, Patrick, you have data gen, so you may make a data gen roll. If you wish to hook it into the AI directly, you will get an extra die because it'll be easier to do.
Easier.
I do think I'll hilarity aside, I will start with my I have a security tablet.
Okay.
So I'll try hooking it through that first, and if I determine that's not enough power, well, we have a next step.
Sure. Go ahead and make a data gen roll for me there.
Okay. Windows. Well,
are you happy with those results, or would you like to push it?
How do I want to make this game eviler? I'll push it.
Okay.
This is still the same day, so I'd still prayed to the messenger.
Mm-hmm. So that'll give you an extra
+1.
die when you reroll.
There.
So it comes out the same. So you're down 1 die for success, and then up 1 for the modifier.
2 for the prayer, aren't I?
Oh, that's right, because you used the chapel. So yes.
Yelchin used the chapel, but
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I thought adding your icon was 2 extra dice.
If you prayed at the chapel, otherwise it's 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dun dun. You.
So just standard reroll, and we'll add 1. So you've got 2 successes there. So that's pretty good. Hold on while I add that to my darkness pool. Just put that there.
Oh, look at that number.
Yeah. So what you will get from this is that the circuitry here is some kind of close range detector for something. You're not sure what it's detecting. You're not sure exactly how it operates. It's not picking up whatever it's supposed to detect. It's not picking that up in the immediate area.
Did you say treasure map?
It looks like it probably has a broader range depending on how much power you hook it up to. But at least right now, it's, whatever it is looking for is not present on the ship.
Needs
It's
more
looking-
power.
It's looking for a Wi-Fi signal. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's looking for its home network. Yelchin, have you figured out anything about where this is from? We know it wasn't from that temple, but where did they find it from? If we could figure out at least what system it's from.
Was there anything else on it? That's a really good question. From scanning it, I would hope that we might have picked up some trace elements of where it might have been from.
Well, your scans, that's what you got was the circuitry and the lettering on it. That's what you have right now. You think you probably need an expert in this to consult with.
It's not my this is not my field of archaeology. This is not one of the civilizations I've studied. I think we need to find an expert if we want to look into this more.
Can I use culture on it?
Culture is more. Let's see how culture is defined in the game, because I don't think it's history, but let me look.
Oh. I have
Just-
culture and I have observation.
Yeah, it's an empathy skill. Culture is, so that assumes that it's about people.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
so
That makes
I think
sense.
culture is essentially making friends and getting along and knowing how to behave in particular places.
Well, I tried, guys.
Diverse cultures, know their traditions, faith, and superstitions. You can check to recall something advanced like proper greetings. Essentially, to how to get in and get along and behave yourself and impress people of different cultures.
From the place that we took it from, was it powered?
No.
It wouldn't have been powered. Okay. But it is a tablet, so it's not like something that would be traveling around precisely. It would be embedded in a structure.
Yeah, you're not entirely sure because it was in the hands of a collector who you acquired it from.
Oh, okay.
Flashback to a gunshot.
It was just a random gunshot in time.
Gotcha. And then the camera pans to you stealing something.
Okay. Okay. I just
So I will say that you will get that proximity signal with Coriolis Station, asking for your contact code to put you in the queue for and arrangements for docking.
I'll send through the paperwork and signals that like the other ship had sent to us to connect it into an account. So they may have assigned an identity to it, but it's sort of a third party, less personal account that we're going in on.
You'll get the pop up on the displays where you get to look through and choose what dock you want to be at. You kind of look at the credits that they've given you, and you can pick one that seems pretty neutral to you, far away from anybody that you know personally. I mean, the station is huge. There are nearly 1 million people on the station. Maybe 500,000 registered, and then you've got everybody else. That you can come in for docking there, and assign the repairs. And Coriolis Station is huge, and it is a spire. Is it like a giant needle that goes down, and it is geostationary over the monolith down below, that massive black spire of essentially the Portal Builder civilization. And there are different hubs and rings on Coriolis, and there are lots of ships here. This is one of the busiest transit points, in the whole horizon. And it'll take a little bit. You have to wait a bit for them to slot you in, and then essentially they have you turn over slave control of the ship while they do the bringing in, and you will dock there.
So while all that is going on, I'll say to Yelchin, look, I didn't talk about this earlier because it's a less profitable outcome, but Rahani did offer us the option to, basically buy out the contract rather than fulfilling it, get a lesser payment, and keep the item ourselves, to look for a more profitable deal. But we could take that. It would probably put us on a time clock. Do you know someone on Coriolis, or do you have contacts that you could try and find an expert through?
We have a friend in every port, don't we?
That you do.
Is that our icon talent? I've forgotten.
That is your group talent.
So you can totally say, yeah, I know someone.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know somebody.
Give me a name.
Farid Khan. He's a fence of antiquities.
All right. Well, look, I'll try and keep Rahani off our back. I'll try and make sure that there aren't any unnecessary delays or holdups with our repairs, but we're on a clock. So you get in there, you find him, and you get our answers, all right?
What mechanical question about this? Is this like forever our friend then, once we name them at Coriolis?
I would assume it's a per session thing.
Okay, good, yeah.
That would be my assumption.
Because otherwise, I'm like, we know the captain of the guard, and maybe they know an antiquarian, right?
Well, do remember that you do have one of your patrons, a person who has hired you in the past, is one of the captains on the ship. Let me get there, Captain Gira, and let me edit this so you can look at it. And I'll show you a picture of Captain Gira.
Yeah,
so that's,
I love that picture.
Yeah. And she has helped you in the past. You have provided discreet services for her. And she is the person who has helped you out. And of course, your nemesis is Nefrit Garud, the reporter. And that's her picture.
If you want, you can share it maybe to the people watching.
If you're watching, okay.
Like in the future.
In the future, I'll screen share that. So that's what she looks like. That's Nefrit Garud.
Cool.
So yeah, you can you have those people to call on if you want to call on the reporter, your nemesis. But of course, you have the captain. You will land, roll out. There are mechanics already that you've hired are heading over, and they're looking and they're talking, and there will be essentially the foreman of that was. Greetings to you, good captain. I see that you have damaged your ship. You've signed a contract regarding that. Now, it does seem to me like this is a very particular, very special paint job on your ship.
Oh no, he's found my weakness.
At which point I step in and I'll take over the haggling from there.
It'll be that bit where he's like, well, it seems to me like if we want to do the best color matching to capture the right, and then you're in. Oh,
but Kieran, the pinstriping.
And she's like, if you can't match the colors, then you shouldn't have this contract. Just tell me, and I will get it. I will arrange with someone else.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We will make the arrangements on that. We will have that ready. We can have your ship in the queue and repaired in 3 days' time. We will have everything checked out, all maintenance done, and everything to your satisfaction. Is that permissible?
And I will negotiate for the standard 1 day off that time. Just expected. And
we are. You don't understand how pressed we are, but beautiful lady, we will undertake this task with rapidity. We wish to maintain good and cordial relations with someone with such a beautiful ship, and so on. We will will do that, and they will grumble and get to work. But it's expected, so they understand that. And there will be a message waiting for you there from your erstwhile patron Isidien, giving you his message code, saying that if you send a message on that code with instructions on where to meet in a relatively discreet, neutral location, he'll be glad to meet with you and your crew.
Yeah, I mean, previously this was already all way too like officious and convenient for my taste, and then the Kef and Yelchin showed that video of us, so I don't trust this guy either. And I'd like to, especially here with the like resources of being on Coriolis, I'd like to try and dig into him a little bit and find some information.
Absolutely. Let's see. What do we think is probably the best skill for that? I think that's going to be culture.
Oh, okay.
That seem right for finding out about people and tracking things down, or is there another skill you think would be more appropriate for it?
I was thinking data gen, but culture can also.
Oh
like,
yeah,
if you
want to go and hack and do it the sort of the hands-on way, you could do that.
Culture.
That's easy enough.
Culture
Essentially
seems like it has less chance of immediately getting back to him. Data gen I've been doing so great with, I might set off an alarm.
Okay.
I can help you with culture if you want. If you want to take me with you.
Yeah, cool.
And essentially, what that does is that adds an extra die to the roll when you have an assist.
And maybe we like we get like cool shots of like marketplaces as we buy more rice and stuff for the ship, and I bet it smells really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have marketplaces and souks here, and there are animals on here, and it is busy, multi-level hubs, and people packed in here. Every place has people.
Then yeah, before we leave, I'll turn to Yelchin and say, look, you know what you need to do. We're on a time limit here. And Kieran, Yelchin's got to make a meeting. Just make sure nothing happens to him. We still don't know the layout of who might be looking for us here on the station. Just watch us back, all right?
Absolutely, Captain.
Okay. Kef and I will be looking into Rahani and our meeting there, and hopefully everything will be above board, easy, and, you know, just no. I'm sorry, I can't even finish. We're definitely going to get betrayed, so just watch for that.
All right. So let's have you make that cultural roll.
All right. And you said a +1 for being helped?
Yes.
Nice. So many windows. How?
So one success. Do you want to push it?
Of course I do.
In this game, is one success the same as Mutineer Zero, where you get the thing that you want?
One success is success with cost.
Oh.
2 successes is full success, and then 3 is critical.
Oh.
You do get to spend your extra successes for things.
I thought you only had 1 darkness point.
No, I got another one.
Friend in every port. Does that do it?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, that costs a darkness point. Oh, sneaky.
I don't need to always tell you when I'm.
I mean, yeah. It's so easy, and there's no real cost to re-rolling, so why wouldn't I?
Let me ask you a question. Is this the icon then you've prayed to for this day? The one that deals with this?
That does seem likely. Who is that, and what are their other things?
Let's take a look here. Icons.
So culture
is the traveler, who also does survival.
What would I use for actually negotiating? Would that be culture too?
Let's see here.
Like if in my meeting with Rahani.
That is a good question here. Manipulation.
The merchant, which does feel... The merchant does feel more like me. Yeah, I think it's the merchant today.
Okay. So yeah, you can re-roll. Essentially, if you want, it'll give me a darkness point, and you'll just roll the rest of your dice. You'll be down 1 die when you re-roll.
And would my pool still be up 1 because of Kef
Yes.
helping?
Yeah.
Okay, so just be at a flat culture
Oh yeah,
roll.
that's right. A flat roll.
Okay. Come on, you stupid dice.
So that is 2 successes. So you're able to do it without it getting back to him. That would have been the standard cost. Would have been, handing the information back. So I'm going to give you some basic info, and then I'm going to let you do some follow-ups. Does that seem fair? I'll let each of you ask a follow-up question.
Cool.
So he is a respected legalist executor. What he does is he is hired by families to take care of problematic matters within their own house, to deal with family members who have gone astray, to deal with people who have caused problems to the household, and essentially either to bring them back into the fold, or to arrange for their severing from the family, and the clearing of all debts and social problems from that particular family member. He has a very good reputation as being fair-minded. He is a Zenithian, but he also has a reputation for being a very liberal Zenithian, not one of the sort of Zenithian first supremacists. So generally favorable reputation from everyone that you talk to. The only people that you get any bad words are from a little more scummy people, because he's a little pretty exact. Patrick, do you have a follow-up question?
First, I wanted to say I keep wanting to correct you, and you say executor to executor, but from his job description, I think that might be sort of.
Oh
right.
no, I'm using the word executor. Yes, that's a very particular choice.
It's an interesting job mashup. Has he had any personal or professional ties to icon worshippers before? Has he had any particular notable ties to sort of fundamentalist first comer sort of factions?
No, but he is more faithful than a lot of the Zenithians. He does essentially tithe to the Church of the Icons and is more active in the faith. A lot of Zenithians play lip service, but he supports the church. And when he was blinded, he actually had his eyes replaced with there were fragments from the monolith, the black stone that from down below that are sometimes shaped and so on, and he has essentially eyes that were carved and put into his head there.
Is that as fucked up as it sounds?
Well, somebody clearly took his eyes out.
Not that part.
It does seem odd, but essentially it's like a glass eye,
but made from mecha.
The building is huge, and pieces from that are sometimes sold as by the church as essentially relics for people who have done well by the church.
I was feeling a little more comforted right until that last part. Okay, Kef.
Kef, do you have a follow-up question?
If I remember him being like talking trash a little bit about Botto, so does it smell funny that he would be working for the family and excising him if he was also sort of like not talking trash, but like being like Botto's a bad person and stuff like that? Like, does it seem above board that he would be doing this?
Yeah, actually, when you check back, it does. You can kind of follow back up and track. It looks like Bado is a distant cousin of one of the essentially the Zenithian nobility houses, and was causing problems and bringing disrepute through various underground activities. And it looks like Izzy Dien was hired to remove him from the family.
Excise him, yeah. Okay. Yes. Cool. Okay, so it does seem legit.
Let's cut to our other two, Kieran and Yelchin. You will head down the levels, and there is that thing. It doesn't mean anything on a space station, and yet the further down you go, the worse it gets. You're probably heading not to Syndicate controlled territory, but pretty close to it. Down below, you get to this sort of more unpleasant areas, and then below that, you actually get to the ducts and the aqueducts, and in the down below of the station. But you will give Fareed a heads up, and he is there. He has a shop. There are no antiquities on display, but brilliant holographic projections of all kinds of things, and even that makes the shop feel like packed. There's things on every shelf. Everything's packed in, and it feels kind of claustrophobic when he has you in there. And tea is brought out. A beautiful red rose tea that is placed before you, and does all of that formal discussions and how are you, and how does your family stand, and the standard back and forth, and it takes a good 20-30 minutes to get through the preliminaries. So you'll come here for my expertise. Which is interesting because I know that you are well educated in such matters.
Well, Effendi, one cannot know everything.
True. Only the icons know everything. It is their vision that guides us, and they are the only ones who can see so far.
Mm-hmm. Very true, Effendi. Very true. I knew, and I'm sure this is something only you would be able to help us with, was your wide knowledge about everything that all the different artifacts that we find in these systems.
I am a humble, lowly scholar. I appreciate your compliments, but it is merely a lifetime of working with these things. It is a small thing, a small gift that I have.
And I guess at this point, Yelchin will probably take it out of his bag. Say, have you ever seen anything like this, Effendi?
Oh, I'll say, may I do a text scan?
Of course.
Okay. And he'll set it on the table, and he will carry and run the text scanner over it. And then you see him roll over essentially a unit, a computer unit, and he will say, before I go, I assume discretion?
Of course.
It was merely a question. I did not know if this was merely a question of academic curiosity or if it was some other matters involved. I will not reach into the greater database of the station then.
Let's start with discreet and expand.
Mm-hmm. This looks to be Katakuri. They're a settlement from Algol. A lost culture there. I would say Katakuri. It looks like this is part of a set of instructions. For some sort of detection device for the location of a sacred site. But the other piece is missing here.
There's a second part to this?
Yes, it looks like this is just a tool. We need whatever is the location map that is associated with this. The detector, from what I can see, has a small range.
Mm-hmm. And what were the category sites? What would a sacred site be? Why would it be significant? In what way?
That's unclear. The category, that proto-culture, very little is known about it. And when I say sacred sites, that's the best interpretation we have. A site of value, a place of reverence. I mean, it could mean many things. It could be a temple. It could be a weapons depot. We're uncertain as to what their proto-language means exactly.
And did you expand into the Coriolis database?
No, I did not.
And I guess at this point, Yelchin will look at Kirin and say, so, shall we expand the search and see what happens?
It would be interesting to see if anyone followed.
Exactly. So I say, let's do it. Expand the search.
All right. And he will pull up, and he will say, it looks like there were definitely some other people who have been looking into this. There's some database searches. Looks like some consultations. It looks like a person hiring, looking for this, by the name of Bado. Looks like there's a report of a theft of an object similar to this from an antiquarian on, and names the planet that you guys were just at. He'll say, there is a record of a dealer, or rather an archaeologist, looks like, on Algo itself that has, if not the other half of this, then a similar piece to this. Yes, someone's tracing it back.
Okay.
I've been pinged.
Okay, Fendi. Thank you very much for your help. It's always a pleasure, and I'm sure he'll shake hands and
Shakes hands.
the bow and
Yes,
say,
yes.
"We don't want to bring you any trouble. We'll be out of here right away."
Yes. He pushes you out. Shutters go.
So,
Okay.
Kirin?
Yeah, right.
Okay, well, I guess we got our wish.
Okay.
And essentially, I think that we go sort of immediately into protection mode. So
Okay.
blending in and stuff like that. And since my icon is the faceless, makes sense that I would have used that. So I will essentially go into us moving as quietly as possible around here to see if we can see any follow-up that occurs.
Okay. Why don't you make a infiltration roll?
Okay, I'm going to attempt to it, but I have to fight through a cat who has decided that she needs to be right here. Okay.
I think we need a game that has cats as actual like luck mechanics or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
If you have a cat on screen, you get an extra die.
Exactly. Okay.
If the cat meows when you roll, you get to re-roll.
How did I do?
So you've got a limited success.
Oh,
So
God.
with that, I will say you will definitely keep out of sight.
Mm-hmm.
And you can avoid any kind of detection, but you won't pick up any additional information on who might be done.
Oh man, I want to know something.
Do you want
So
to push your roll?
yes, it's silly, but I want to.
Okay, then you are going to be rolling with one less die then.
Am I? But I said that I had prayed to
Oh,
my.
that's right. So it becomes neutral. Yep.
Right. So okay, here we go. We will try again.
So that's 2 successes. You will see a set of a trio arrive. They are they move over to the shuttered place. They look around. You see that rather unusually, one of them definitely has cybernetics, visible cyber. People kind of get a little nervous about that, but he has very obvious cyber with eye implants, ocular things. And they move up over to the shutters, and they will hit the buzzer there, and they say something, and the shutters come up. And you will see Farid Khan kind of standing there. And you have the impression that they said a name to him, and he immediately opened the shutters. And Khan will bow, and he will speak with them. And you see the point at which you can almost read his lips as he names you to.
Right. He had to. All right. That's awesome.
Yeah, and
Who
that
are
is a
these guys?
perfect point for our bathroom break, as
Okay.
he says, yes, a woman named Kiran and a man named Yalchin. They serve aboard this ship. I'm uncertain about other matters. They simply had questions about that. All right, let's take our 5-minute break.
don't know why I'm typing. I can just talk to you.
I was like, I'm the first person who did it because I was here looking at you and typing.
Mind-enhancing drugs and a signal jammer were the things I'd been looking at. Mind-enhancing drugs up a stat for a random number of hours and then down it afterwards. I was thinking... fictionally last time, that's what I was talking about, is me like researching ways to try and control this weirdness in my brain.
That's fair enough. Let me...
Signal jammer was equipment for being on the run, basically.
Let me see here. So restricted means that they are illegal to have. So yes, you may buy them, but yes, they are illegal.
Okay.
And any authority that finds you with them, it's a potential criminal offense.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
And I know there's the like licensed talent to be able to get them generally, and then it talks very vaguely in there about being able to buy a license for a particular thing, but then never prices out what those individual licenses would be.
No, we would negotiate that out. Depends on the area or what the scope is. Like if you wanted to be able to purchase that license for a particular planet, I assume it would be cheaper than buying it for all the systems. So I have a question. Should I cut back to the four of you gathered together? Or shall I just cut back to the other pair?
I'd say, Kieran, what were you thinking? I was thinking that we might want to follow them. As in follow the people that came to check.
Right. Yes, if we can get a little bit more information out of this before we tag up. We have some means of communicating with each other, I assume.
You have message codes that essentially you can drop messages and have them picked up. They don't have communicators, personal communicators on board Coriolis.
Seriously? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh, you can't have them? Oh, interesting. What else don't we have with us then? We don't have
Really?
enough.
Like their personal comms messages are difficult because they don't have the bandwidth for the broadcasting and things like that here.
Also, I was wondering, for buying a communicator, when it says personal, short range, long range, what is personal then? Like, how close is personal?
That's a good.
The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 set of them has listed out like kilometers that they reach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's only 200 for personal one. That's not too
Yeah. So if you've bought those communicators, if you have purchased those, then you can have them.
Okay, yeah, I've got a communicator 3. That was in my
You
package.
got a 3? Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that was part of my cyber stuff.
I've got a 2.
Okay.
Well, you have to remember, I'm the one that couldn't have any weapons. So
Okay. If you have communicators, then yes, then you do have means to contact one another.
Okay, maybe I'll buy a personal one just so I have one for you guys to talk to me.
As in, we can talk to you, but you can't talk to us because we can transmit to you. You won't have the bandwidth to transmit to us.
Okay,
So
if I have personal and it's a couple kilometers, would I be able to?
Oh yeah, then it will work. There are parts of the station if it won't reach.
Right.
But generally, if you're in the same levels, it will reach.
But yeah, I think number 1 is like 10 kilometers, so that should be.
Oh, if it's 10 kilometers, then it's fine. That'll reach anywhere in the station.
Okay, I'll buy that. Like we'll have like a flashback to the market with me buying like a whatever one.
These are all those refurb ones that have kind of fallen off, and had been picked up, and they've polished them up to make them look nice, but essentially they're the track phones of personal communication.
So you're saying they're like less than 200 that I had to spend on?
No, I'm saying that's why they only cost 200.
Or alternatively, you could, just because of your concept, you could double the cost of it, and it would be as small as like a gem and a piece of jewelry.
What?
You could make the phone itself as small as like a tiny gem if you double the price of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
That'd be even
cool.
cooler, so it's worth spending that money, right?
Nice.
I just said because it sort of fits in with your sneaky concepts.
Yeah, could I even have it like behind my ear or
Oh
something?
yeah. Yeah.
That would-
That'd be
kinda cool.
400.
Okay. Nice. I did that. And
Patrick, here's
so-
40. Here's your 10% tithe for getting Fraser to overspend.
That's how I make the money.
Yes.
I'll just say like tiny communicator or something.
Yeah.
As compared, but if it were implanted, it would be cyber then, so that doesn't work, right?
Yeah, that's different.
Okay.
And that would take time and
Later.
serious money.
Yeah.
So let's cut back to you two having our captain and Kef having gotten that word. What do you do?
Look, this is. Oh, did they call us then?
I assume they would have passed that info to you then,
Mhm.
given that you can communicate.
Fuck. Okay, well, there's an ever-decreasing chance that Rahani is not tied into all of this and that this meeting with him isn't just a trap, but if he really is just doing his job and we don't sign the paperwork and finish out the contracts to run off with what is basically his property, he'll be chasing us no matter what. That's to Kef.
Oh,
Sorry, I was muted. What did you say? I was looking at how much language units were.
Kef was looking at
Very
himself.
expensive.
He's off buying. Ooh.
Yeah. You're like, hey, and I'm like looking at all these cool fruits and vegetables and stuff.
So
Track them in the souk.
with them being tracked at least aggressively, if not quite violently yet, that lowers the chances that Rahani is just in this as far as he says he is, that he's just fulfilling a contract. But on that small chance that he's just here doing a job, if we go and talk to him, we can be quit with him. If we don't go and talk to him and run off with what is legally speaking currently his property, he'll definitely follow us no matter what.
Right. Well,
But it's
there's
a big risk going to talk to him right now.
Well, there is another thing, is that like it could be that he's doing what he's supposed to do. Bado hired us to find this thing, and there's a third interested party who's acting, right?
Yeah, like I said, he could just be, against all odds, completely above board and telling us the truth at the moment.
Well, he has given
Gazi,
you.
we're following the guys who want this. I enjoy your conspiracy theories, but what would you like us to do?
Yeah, why don't you guys tail them, and then we'll like come out in front of them, and then when they are like, oh shit, and they turn behind, then you're there, and it will be like a cool scene.
A cool scene?
Right.
I think we've determined that Kef lives his life as if he's a vid.
That's true, yeah. I am the movie.
Keep in mind regarding Izzy DN that he has left choice of location and meeting point up to you.
Yeah, see, he seems legit.
But do we?
She goes, if we make that meeting as quickly as possible, transfer the goods to him, then this is his problem. If we don't do that, then we have this problem and then whatever's going on with him.
It's, yeah, even a small chance at simplifying what's already exploding here, it might be worth it.
May I suggest that we honor the contract with Izzadeen and we warn him that people are looking for it? We don't have to mention that it was our search that caused it.
So are you
Alternatively, you know where the second piece is and we could find the whole thing and a better deal on our own?
Oh, is that what you were angling for? You should have just said that, Gazi.
Oh, yes. I was angling for the fame, fortune, and success that goes along with it.
Well, then you're going to have to get our ship out of dock as soon as possible, since I'm sure that they're heading there. I can try to delay this particular group, but if they have a comm link, someone else knows. And we should at least take the 10% from Izzadine. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We'll make this fast. Keep them running in circles.
All right. So make the appointment with Izzadine. We'll go.
In fact, why don't we set up the location and you're keeping them running in circles routes to intersect with each other. So if we need to, you can just crash the meeting with a bunch of assassins.
Okay, sure. And she turns to you, and she goes, I think we're supposed to give them the runaround. Are you ready to do that?
Yelchin looks at you and says, "Of course, this should be easy."
All right.
The only thing is, I think at this point, Yelchin would be thinking we really need to have a duplicate of this tablet.
Yeah, the problem is it's
Too
the
late.
material inside is unique. There's no way to duplicate that sensor.
Oh no, but I mean, I like a fake.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
So why don't we stop at one of those print your own shops and do a quick copy, and then get the heck out.
Well, we might lose the these people we're
Yeah, I've got a choice there.
Yeah. Do we want to split up?
What? Sorry, what? Please? I mean, go on. What are you doing?
She stops and she's like, well, that's interesting.
I know.
Yes.
Well, so we're supposed to be following these people, or are we going to go to the meeting place? We're following them, right?
Basically, my idea was that if you could keep them running in circles, but keep them running in circles that happen to be very close to the meeting place, if we need you to lead them in to wreck up the meeting place, you could do that.
That means going up a few levels since you're down essentially in the underside.
Yeah, so I'll say... Yeah, so I think I'll look at Kieran and say, look, we need a copy of this tablet, a fake. We got to have... So I'll... You run the scam with them. You keep them busy. I'll go do it, and then you let me know where you are, and I'll meet up with you. It won't take me but, a little bit. We're right in the area where we can get fakes made.
And she hands you the essentially ship's credit card. And she goes, they won't be long behind you. I will try to draw their attention. And she goes, thanks. I'm really pleased to have this particular assignment.
I'll be right behind you. So then I guess Yelchin takes a tablet and runs off to go get the duplicate made.
Okay. So you want to get in front of them and draw their attention then?
Right, I do. And the other thing is that I want it to be, how should you say, that it seems like we could legit be those people. So one of the things that I want to do is, essentially, I assume that there's someone down here who I can hire to be a messenger person to accompany me. And I will pay because I will say hazardous duty. So I want someone who will take hazardous duty stuff. So I'm going to go to for the day labor area and grab someone.
Let's say 25 cred.
Okay. I will pay it.
And then you're going to try and find where they've gone to, and because they're actually not heading up, they're heading down.
To report?
They're heading down into the even worse areas.
And they would do that because they think we're going there, or because they're going back to report? Do you see what I'm
I
saying?
don't think you're going there.
Okay, so, well, if they're going to go to report, then maybe I'll just go and that would suggest they don't have comm. So I might be able to take care of them. That's interesting. Okay, then we will do
That will suggest to you, by the way, that they are definitely criminals because they're not using any kind of scannable tech.
Okay.
If they're not using comms, they're not using comms very particularly.
Okay. And else, before Yelchin, okay, well then as soon as we see that they're moving down, I would say, Yelchin, I don't think they're coming for us. I think they're going to talk to the big boss. We can take care of them or we can try to run ahead of them, but they're criminals.
If you see who they report to, we'll know who's interested in this. Isn't that part of what we want to know? There's so much we don't know.
Okay. All right.
Just be careful.
She rolls her eyes.
All right, so you're going to follow them. You're going to make a duplicate. It'll be essentially 100 creds to make a dupe of this. That looks good.
Okay, with like broken fake electronics inside of it.
Well, no, it's a 3D printed one. If they break it open, it's going to be, it has the same weight, but it's resin inside.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And while it's printing, Yelchin, of course, has an opportunity to go get a drink.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They're doing that. Woo, 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 woo. And there's someone selling nearby the various distilled from vegetable alcohols that they brew here. This is not a place where you get a good drink, but it is a place where you can get a drink.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I need to focus.
You are a little parched.
Mm-hmm.
And it is happy hour. Apparently it's happy hour all the time, but it's 2 for 1.
Mm-hmm. Right, because on Coriolis it's always 5 o'clock somewhere.
Exactly. So yeah, you can. And then there's a second one. Another?
Sure.
Okay. Tunk, tunk. Put down another 2 for you. So we'll come back to you. Let's go back to yeah, it'd be 1,000 beer. He's not in a strip club. So let's cut back to Ghazi and Kef.
So I'll rely on Kef's expertise in this sort of thing. Where's the safest place on Coriolis we could meet them?
Probably the most visible place, I'm guessing. So like higher up instead of lower, right?
So a decent restaurant.
Yeah, where he's paying. That sounds nice.
I like that.
Get some good tea.
Kef, your fucking food.
You can send that comm message, and he will reply back. Absolutely, he is still close to that area, so he can meet you soon if you'd wish.
Sure. I like the juxtaposition too. We can have the scene where we're like in a fancy restaurant drinking nice tea, and then we switch back and they're in the underworld and shit.
It's perfect. And slamming down. Beautiful restaurant here. That nice glass frontage on it. Space, so you're not all packed in. The tables are apart. That beautiful smell of saffron and other aromatics, cinnamon and so on, kind of rolling out here. Appetizers, the smell of fresh baked bread. The dishes, the covered dishes that they bring out and pull, and they've got the tagines there with various things cooking. And that he has called ahead. Izudian has called ahead and has a table, has a reservation, and they will take you over a table that is out in the open, like in the middle of things, rather than off to the side or anything.
And I think Ghazi has like he's spiffed up for this meeting, like he's wearing the nicest, cleanest, whitest looking thing he has that's just very like sharp angles and dirt has never touched this sort of thing. He's actually combed his hair a little bit and he's trying very hard to look calm, but this is hitting on all of his paranoia spots. So I think there's a lot of like darting eyes and sort of like rapidly tapping finger sort of things.
And okay, so sit. They will bring you, the big tall tea. They pour out long streams of beautiful hot red spiced tea, and they serve appetizers. There's some beautiful leaf wrapped stewed things with rice and meat inside, and they bring that to you. And after a couple of minutes, you will see Rehani Izzedine. I have the picture there. He comes in by himself. He has a tablet under his arm, and you can definitely see he walks. He clearly has some visibility cybernetics, but he's definitely, you can tell he is blind.
Right.
And he will speak to the essentially the maitre d', and will be brought over to your table. He has his tablet, and he sets that down. Those were spent on getting the info out of their friend. Those darkness points. Sets the tablet down, and he will sit, and he will say, "Captain Ghazi."
Rahani.
And do you have an associate here? May I ask your name?
I don't know if I should give a false name or not, especially after what they did. But nah, he probably can find out anyway. He's real connected. So I say Kev.
Ah, excellent. Captain Gira speaks very highly of you, Captain Ghazi.
I think at first I nod, but then I notice his like cybernetic eyes, and I say that is most kind.
I hope it was all right for me to speak to get references.
Yes, I'd be lying if I said I hadn't looked into you a little bit as well too.
No, fair enough. You were placed in a difficult situation with some complexities, and I apologize for the abruptness of this. You must be confused.
I appreciate your courtesy and professionalism in all aspects of this, and most of what I'd dug up about you spoke of your endless professionalism.
Well, we'll talk business in a second. Shall we eat? I was on the ship and eating ship's food for some time, and I would appreciate a chance for a good meal. This was an excellent choice.
Yes, please feel free. I fear the gravity enhancers on Coriolis. They give me some problems after being out in space so long. It'll probably be another day or so before I feel down to eating.
Oh, and you, Master Kef?
Oh, I am most certainly up for a meal.
Excellent. This is my. I insist that I will pay for this since the matter has been taking. You were able to get repairs set?
Yes. We found someone who seemed most efficient and eager to finish the job. And I think, like, as we're doing these formalities, Ghazi is like pouring and preparing tea for Rahani and for Kef, who's probably drunk all of his. And that's the one moment where, like, his hands stop shaking. He's not even paying attention to it, but he's like perfectly proficient at doing all of the niceties of preparing this tea.
And he's thank you, and I trust that the customary obligation for the repairs, that my duty is discharged on that. We will consider that a particular duty.
Yes, between the clearing of bandits and the repairing of our ship, you have been more than kind in this.
And more food is brought out. Beautiful food is brought out here. Great steaming piles of it, and we'll cut from those steaming piles to steaming piles down in the underworld as you're moving through. You've gone down into the narrowest, dirtiest part of this. You are down in Syndicate territories.
Stupid.
And you're trying to follow these people discreetly, correct?
Yes.
Then I think that is an infiltration test.
Yay. All right. Let us do this. What did I do? I'm sorry. It is impossible to do the roll and see how
You got one success.
Okay. So I have to have more, or there's some cost to it,
Yes.
or there's some cost to it. So I think at this point, instead of giving you more darkness, I will try
I have
taking
no
the
darkness points. I have none. I don't know why you would hold back.
So I guess there's a cost.
Okay.
I succeeded, but what
So
does
you
it take?
succeeded, and you follow, and you're still sort of hidden, but you've kind of followed them closely because there's so many people around here, that, and so bendy that there is that moment when you realize you've actually walked into the den, that you're in like a syndicate boss's like abode, like they're the sort of the shop / bar here, and you've kind of popped in, and you're in a very dangerous place right now.
Okay.
And you will see the three of them go over, and the tallest of them, sort of silver haired, kind of perpetually smiling, goes over to speak to a largish woman who is seated at a table speaking with others. She is dressed fancily. She clearly spends a good deal of money on the clothing there. She's older, a little bit larger, and she will hear his report, and she listens. And she'll put her hookah down, and you'll see her kind of pull up a data thing, and see her until she pulls, and you can almost see the color of your ship,
Okay.
like a hollow vid of that. And what do you want to do?
So long as they don't notice me, I will watch what's going on. And I'm trying to get sort of the sense of what sort of personality she has and what they're after. This is what I was sent to do, so I will do my best and try to extricate myself in the best way possible.
So let's have you make an observation roll, and based on that, I'll give you for each success a question. Does that seem fair?
Sure.
That or culture? I would take either one for kind of reading the person here.
I would prefer culture.
Okay. That's 2 successes. So I will give you 2 questions. She's muted and thinking about it.
So do they seem to be set on seizing this thing? Is that the intent? Is that what they're planning for?
What you will see is at some point, it brings up, and you'll see a picture of a person that you don't recognize. And you see her shake her head like, ooh, don't want to get in the path of that. and she kind of waves them off. The smiling guy's like, clearly get the sense that he's saying we could go and kill them, and we could get the stuff, and it'd be no problem. I'd be super happy to do that. And she's like, no, 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 no. And she gestures over to the other two, and she clearly is saying to them, follow, find them, keep an eye on them. Don't attack them. Don't kill them. Smiling guy finally frowns when she says that. What's your second question?
Interesting. We heard. Could that have been the legalist that the picture was of?
You're pretty sure that's what. That's yeah.
Okay.
Probably also. You'll probably also see a picture of your patron pop up.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Of the captain.
Yeah.
All right. Then essentially. Is this okay? So I guess the other question is I'm looking around here. My thing is why would they be interested? In the sense of do I have the sense that they have the other piece or access to the other piece? Is there any kind of like, do they have those resources?
You probably see some more of the holovid stuff. You have the guess that, like your previous patron, they had info on this, and they've got sketchy stuff, and that they were following up on it. Like they don't have either piece, but you will have the sense that you'll see a picture of the planet Algol. And they do have some notes on that. They're clearly seeking it out, but they don't know exactly what it is.
Okay.
Does that seem fair?
Yes. Thank you.
So Yelchin, you'll get that of your printed object being ready.
So yeah, that'll be like quaffing the last drink and then eating something to try and disguise the smell, and then running out to grab the tablet.
Okay. So yeah, they essentially they have some nuts there that you can chew, and like the licorice candies essentially that you have to chew on, and you'll head back and here's your tablet, sir, and put it out there for you.
Okay. Great. So I'll take the tablet, and
you've got two tablets. They look almost identical.
I know, so I have to be very careful where I put them.
Yes.
So
what do you want to do?
Yeah, well, I want to put it in my bag.
Can I have you just for the sake of your problem? Let's have you roll. I think this is going to be wits plus observation for you.
Oh, because I gave them the original also, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they handed both of them back to you,
Mm-hmm.
and they look almost identical.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have a portable laboratory, don't I? So I should be able to scan it.
Okay. Do you want to stop here and scan it? Is that what your character would do at this point?
Well, I know they're going to look identical. So, are you thinking that I'll just I think that I'm such a great archaeologist? Yeah, this is not a problem. I can tell the difference between two identical items. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll roll the wits then. Did I take it?
Yeah, there's that minute where you're like, then we see the shot of you holding them both.
Oh, it did it twice, didn't it? Well, both times were a limited success. So.
But yeah, you'll go. Okay, that this is the one. That this is the one. I'm absolutely certain of it. And you put the real one in your backpack or the fake one in your backpack?
Well, they both have to go in my backpack, actually.
So
But
how do you mark it for quick reference that one is different than the other?
I'll put the real one in the Kinko's bag.
Okay. Perfect. Space Kinkos. All right. So you'll put that in there and get that all set. And then where are you headed after that?
I think this would be when I'd ping Kieran. Yeah, pulling myself together to not show that I'm had anything to drink.
Okay.
Kieran,
you're in that bar, super tense. At any moment, one of them could spot you. They know your face. They have it from the vids there. Anything could happen, and you're in the den of this clearly syndicate boss. And then you'll hear in your ear that.
All done?
Yeah, got it. Looks great.
All right. I'll stand up. I'll pay for my tab, and I will leave.
Absolutely. You just need one success on infiltration not to be spotted.
Okay.
But before Yelchin leaves...
I got it.
Oh,
I got it.
Okay. And before Yelchin leaves?
I think the idea might have suddenly come into his mind that they could have printed yet another one of these, and they may not have given me the real one.
Uh-huh.
Do I have any... What would be my way to check that?
You got one success on your thing, so you are certain that
I've got a real one? Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
This guy behind the counter isn't smart enough to steal your shit. He thinks you're like doing a homework project or something.
Sure. Yeah.
So let me cut back to the restaurant. Very good. Are you certain, Captain Gaza, you don't want anything?
You're too kind, but the smells alone are enough for me at the moment.
I am glad that the food agrees with you, Master Kef.
Oh, it's delicious. And I give like a pointed look to the captain who's clearly not eating because he doesn't want to be poisoned.
I give a pointed look back at you saying, hey, you know that could be poisoned, right?
And I just like slowly savor this bite coming in.
The little lamb melts in your mouth. So your client caused problems for his associated family. He was involved in criminal matters and had drawn on the name and resources of his family in a way that became untenable for them. And as such, I was hired to remove him from the family, close out his operations, pay off his contracts, and settle any outstanding debts. And I was given commission to do that with some finality. We were on planet tracking down the last of his assets when he took off with a quickly rounded up crew. We were able to follow him into space, the boarding party and the ship that attacked you. We have the sense that he intended to kill all of you and take the ship for himself.
Oh, that's pretty much the opposite of professionalism and trustworthy contract work.
So, again, I apologize for having struck as we did, but I was afraid that he might have escaped our grasp if he had been given the opportunity, and I apologize again. So he hired you to obtain a tablet of some kind?
Yes, some archaeological oddity. I don't know, some fancy rock.
He puts up his hand. He goes, I do not wish to know. I do not wish to know what it is. I do not wish to know what means you used to obtain said item.
Well enough. They were
Yeah.
all completely normal, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. I will take you at your word on that. So I have the numbers that he had in his records for the payment that was offered to you for this. So either I can pay you that, and I will take possession of the item, and I will turn it over to the family. Or if you wish to discharge the contract, I will give you 10% of that offer, and I will simply have you essentially sign a statement to the effect that you have no more call upon this house, that they do not owe you anything further.
I will admit I was happy enough at the opportunity to finish the job, but how to say this? One of my crew members has, I don't know, taken a sentimental liking to said unnamed object. He's of a more religious nature than perhaps I have ever found myself to be, and he claims he feels the presence of his personal icon through it, that he feels a connection to the higher powers, and would just be loath to see it go into hands that didn't respect it properly.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. I envy him that he feels that close personal contact to the icons. I know many who have had strong religious experiences, but as of myself, I have not yet had those feelings.
He said,
perhaps
looking at me with mecha eyeballs.
Perhaps my skeptical upbringing that does not allow me to open myself to the icons as others might.
I understand. There, as a philosophy, I find them entirely engaging and leading in a good life, but I've never felt a personal connection to them myself.
You are Zenithian. You have and he goes, no, I will not pry as to your background. I apologize. That was inopportune of me. So I have the contract here. I can give you the data pad to sign that, and I can have the beer provided to you to pay for that, if you would like.
I'd like to look over the contract for two things in particular. One, I want to look and see, like, if damn it, what's his name? Dead guy.
Bado.
If Bado was going to pay us what he agreed to. And secondly, I want to look through the basically NDA disclosure of rights to the family to see if that document mentions anything about what the item is.
Let's. I don't think this needs a roll. Okay. Actually, I think you're skilled. You're of that status. It definitely looks like Bado. The price that you were offered is what Bado has listed here. You have the sense from the thing that there's some notations that the suggestion that perhaps Bado intended to kill you for and not pay you.
Like just scribbled in the margins of the contract.
He has some notations that he's put on here. Likelihood that Bado intended to do this. We will fulfill the terms of the contract as associated. And then there are copies of those documents that Bado gave you describing the tablet. So anything that you had been given as briefing information, he has a copy of that attached to the contract to describe what it is. But essentially, not the stuff that Yelchin discovered on the ship, but all of the stuff from beforehand.
And that part's going to the family?
Yeah, they will have a note of what that is. And basically, it's that if you sign this, you cannot make any claims against the family for damages or any other things, that you will consider your contract with their family free, cleared, and done.
Yeah, I don't know. Do I think that there's any way like it could still be legally viable if we take out all of that information? The notes on what the thing was?
You'd have to ask him. You'd have to say, hey, we don't want any of the description of this item to go to the family.
This looks fairly standard, although I have to say, given these recent revelations about Bado and his less than trustworthy nature, I admit to having a little worry towards his general family as well. It may have simply been self-interest that caused them to try and seize his holdings. It may have been a similar impulse to what he himself was approaching life with. And so I would rely on your professionalism and expertise to know, would you be able to remove these references to the item itself? Similar to how the family wouldn't want me showing up on their doorstep claiming payment, I wouldn't want them showing up with authorities claiming that we had something of theirs. And I know, given the very professional nature of your history and our relationship, that you won't lie to me, will you? And I think there's just that echoing sort of overdubbed voice there on that "you won't lie to me."
Let's have you make a manipulation roll.
Is it powers?
Oh, is this a particular...
This is my mystic power, the stop. Don't do something you may have been about to.
I think I'm going to go with manipulation, the actual skill on this, and I'll give you an extra die for that. Does that seem fair?
Okay.
Okay.
Although, we're being fair to you, me using the mystic power would give you a darkness point.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Okay.
So
that's still going to go off. Let's see. That and you and another window. God damn it. I am definitely spending on that. Come on.
Okay.
So that's -1 +1?
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. 2. 2 is what I got.
So you tie with him.
Can I help?
I wish you'd said that before we were going there, sir. They don't want to have to do
But I didn't know
says-
if I needed to.
He will say, I would be more than happy to take that material out of the contracts and have that removed, deleted from all the files, such that it is not trackable for you. But I have
Good job.
a discrete task that I hope that you might be able to help me with.
I will say our relationship thus far has been entirely cordial and profitable, although with the eccentricities of my crew member, not as profitable as I had been hoping for.
He'll turn to you, Kef, and he will say, it's my understanding that you and yours undertake detective work of a kind. You're not simply action archaeologists, but more forceful operatives.
When needed, yes, but we hope that force is not necessary.
And I would hope that it is not necessary as well. May I speak of my matter?
Of course. And I order a mango pudding.
All right, please, absolutely. Say, I have to tell you about my son, and we'll cut from there back to the other two. So where are you two at then? Having with the duplicate tablet and having gotten out of this crime boss's thing, he's sending his people out to follow you shortly here. So, Kieran, do you and Yelchin meet up then?
Absolutely. And she's like, okay, so it's the Syndicate that's interested. They're scared off by the legalist, and fortunately, they know that the captain is one of our patrons, so they're not that keen on coming right at us. At least they're not going to try to kill us and take it. So we got a little bit of time. And I sort of look at Yelchin and I'm like, have you heard anything from Ghazi and Kef?
There's maybe some bleed through of the music in the background.
Oh, I can hear Kef chewing.
It's right behind his ear, so yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
so angry.
It still is cheap. It doesn't have a very good filter. It's just miniaturized, so it doesn't filter out his chewing sounds. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. They haven't told me anything. I have a good copy, though.
Muted.
And she says, okay, well then, let's see here. I guess, well, I don't want to hang around down here. And she's like, let's go up. I don't think we need to pull off any capers tonight. There should be a certain delay. They'll be watching the ship mostly.
Okay. Shall we go back to the ship, or is there something else you want to do?
I'm starving. Let's get something to eat.
So go up to like one of the mid stations and hit.
The equivalent of Applebee's, yeah.
Okay.
Space Applebee.
Space Applebee's. Essentially, it's the very simple kebabs, press formed bread, that kind of thing, and sauce from a packet. You open it up and it heats it immediately, and then you have to squirt it out over it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It has some like fake texturing in it. It's a kind of gray green. It has some flavor to it, but it's not great. But of course, they do have drinks on the menu here.
Exactly. I will order a couple myself.
Okay. Well, she's drinking.
Well, if she's drinking, I can't refuse her. I can't let her drink alone. Then she would look like an alcoholic.
Yes. And so you'll order some drinks there and relax. And we'll cut back to that Kef taking the last bite of this mango dessert. Cut from the gray green slop to that. And he'll say, we should have some coffee as well to finish off the meal there. I say, here's the situation. My son has become somewhat politicized in the last few years, and not for what I would consider righteous causes. He has listened to and fallen in with Zenithian supremacists, those who have a radical agenda, radical materialism, and the belief in the supremacy of the Zenithian bloodline against the first comers. I have tried to speak with him, but he has turned his face away from me. But it has been meetings and posts in data forums and that kind of foolishness that is not particularly harmful, and is merely bothersome. And he had not yet dragged our family's name into it, so I had not moved, and perhaps that is on me. But in the last few months, there has been a agitator apparently within his group who has been pushing for stronger measures. And a few weeks ago, my son left Coriolis along with a group of these people, including this firebrand, and headed out. It's my impression from what I was able to obtain that he headed to Debaran, which is in another system. I sent a man, someone who I respect, who's served as a bodyguard at times, to follow and keep an eye on my son, but he has not reported back, and it has been some time. I would like to hire you and your crew to travel to Debaran, see if you can locate my son, and bring him back forcibly if necessary. And he kind of looks at Kef when he says that.
Do you have any particular messages you would like us to pass on to him, or simply to deliver him to you?
I think no messages, simply bring him back. I think the silence will speak volumes for him. I will not allow him to bring shame upon my house with these destructive ideas. And while I gave him time and space to work through this, I will not have his racist ideologies poisoning my family.
And your friend, would you like us to look into his circumstances?
I would appreciate knowing, but he is, like yourself, a professional, so he understood the risks when he took the assignment. But if something has happened to him and he can be extricated from the situation, I would pay you for that.
That seems
And
reasonable.
you have basic information on your son and his cohorts?
Absolutely. I can pass that on to whatever data pad you have. I prepared a small dossier for you on that and on the person, the agent that I sent.
Yes, it's I'll say family matters like this and ideological matters, especially having to do with the hegemony, they can get very messy very quickly.
But I've put this to you with just you and one member of your crew. You obviously wish to speak to the others before you make such a decision.
Yes, it's not something I could tell my people to go into without their knowledge. Like I said, it has the opportunity to blow up all over everything.
Well, let me give you the info from my data pad. And you have I understand you're on the station for a few more days. Have a chance to think about that, make that decision, and you can contact me as to how you feel about that at the end of that time.
That would be appreciated.
Yeah. Good. Well, then I should be going. If you wish to have any more coffee or anything, please feel free. I've put my card with the maitre d', so help yourselves. And thank you very much. I will have the money transferred for the 10%.
Thank you. It's been a surprisingly pleasant business arrangement.
I was worried, I will admit, because you were hired by Bado, which his taste is not always the best, but your friend, the captain, spoke for you, and it was she that confirmed that I could work with you.
I always appreciate her good word.
And he will kind of lean into you, Kev. Though of course, he kind of, his eye line is always a little bit off. He will say, "You should try some of the balaclava." And he'll say it
I
wrong.
lean in. I lean in closer, and I'm like, "I love you." No, just kidding.
And he will leave.
Kef leaves our crew to go work for him.
Yeah. Okay, this is how you actually buy calf, right?
Food.
Yeah.
Can I cut to a scene of the four of you with your various respective doggy bags?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think right after a shot of as soon as he's like out of the restaurant, I order 3 of everything.
Okay.
I'm hoping I can have a third of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can certainly get leftovers that are portable, and the four of you can talk.
We have the best job.
We have a potential job.
The best potential job.
But
Okay,
we already
so
have a job.
We're flush on that. Well, we're not flush, but we're quit with that job at least. Congratulations, you have a brand new tablet. It's amazing.
you're not interested in following it to the sacred site anymore?
I'm definitely interested in that, but
Okay.
we need a second piece as well.
Right. So we would contact the archaeologist and see if he wants to find it as well, break a deal with him, and we all go. Right? Peaceable, easy, tidy.
Something vaguely shaped like that. But we have this other job in potential. Rahani was, to all appearances, above board? I don't know. I find it very odd myself.
Well, the Syndicate certainly doesn't want to mess with him.
And going forward, if we do this job correctly, we might have a new patron.
That is a good point. I want to at some point send a letter off to names the bane of my existence, Captain Gira.
Okay.
To double check, like, does she actually know this guy? What's her interpretation of him? That sort of thing.
All right, and I think that's a simple thing. We can kind of do a flashback to that, and she'll say, "He's good, solid. He doesn't cause trouble on the station. Where he's had to follow up matters, he has always checked in with me. I haven't heard any complaints from employees regarding him, so I spoke of you well when he asked."
I appreciate that. I realize this may be prying a little much for a contact of a friend, but do you know of any particular problems, ideological or scandalous, within his family?
I could not say. If someone's child were to be picked up for disrupting the peace, then I could not tell you about such a thing.
And who could even remember the details? Young men so often get into such problems.
Absolutely. Beyond hijinks, though, a definitive, a dangerous grouping there. It could be, for example.
I thank you for your recommendation, for your information, and, as always, for your discretion. You know exactly what not to say.
The blessings of the icons upon you.
May the merchant watch over your travels. So I'll say, look, I think it still takes some digging into... What's the son's name?
The son's name is Gulshan.
I think it still bears to dig into Gulshan's past some. I don't like just blindly taking the word of a worried father over the actions of his son, but if it seems legit, it could make up our loss from keeping that thing.
Okay. So, yes. So that's got to be pretty easy to look at unless they've scrubbed it already. So let's call up Space Facebook and see what Golson's up to.
I think it's just Spacebook. So
Or Space MySpace.
space. So you will definitely.
That's so 2390.
A quick check will show you that there are a number of Zenithian supremacist groups that operate in the data stream here on the station. Keeping in mind that the data stream is pretty much confined to Coriolis. Any of that internet is purely here, doesn't reach out to other systems or things like that. But there is a group called the Breakers of Chains. And they're into graffiti and graffitiing sites and general harassment and that kind of thing. And you can eventually track back what you guess is a pseudonym handle, appropriately obnoxious pseudonym handle 23 that he is under. The other thing that you will get from that is that there's definitely a new figure that had joined the group a few months ago. Someone named, let me get his name here, Baltabek. And he seems to be a louder, more agitating figure pushing for more radical action.
And what does Deberon seem to mean to their philosophy, or what promise is there to be found in Deberon?
Not really much of anything. It is a first-comer world that the conglomerate is working hard to push in industrially to get more influence there, but it's definitely a first-comer world.
And what was the name and contact info for the archaeologist?
Oh, I don't think I gave a name there, did we? No. So the archaeologist's name is Salbino Texidor.
Lovely. And where can we find him?
He is on Algol.
Which is in pretty much the other direction. Although much closer, portal-wise.
What's Coriolis in? Is it Kua?
Kua, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, it is.
Oh God, we're looking at maps.
Treadity tread.
They're so beautiful.
I was all good with being abstract and they would just be on our way, but no, we gotta look at a map. Okay, that sounds awesome. Then, is there something happening on Deberon other than this sort of trying to bring them in that way? I'm essentially looking at that if Baltabek is a terrorist or someone who's sort of trying to use these people to get some effect, what might be the agenda?
Oh, interesting. Let me have you make a culture roll.
Okay. I don't know why I keep volunteering to make these dang rolls, because nothing good of it comes, but let's see here.
Could help you with culture.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll add another die.
Okay.
So, God, sorry.
So just
It's
roll a
just-
d6.
Sure. Oh my God.
It's okay.
Yay! Nothing. So it's a double failure. I guess I'll push it.
Okay.
It's okay. We're starving Lowell anyway. He needs some
Are
more.
we? Okay.
Yeah.
So if I still have his help, then I get to add 1, and then I get to add another 1 for pushing it, right? No.
No,
just
you just
push it.
you re-roll the ones
Okay.
you get 6s on, right?
You roll all the ones that you didn't get 6s on. So that's all the dice.
All of them. All of them. Okay. So I just have to change this. Duke. Okay.
And you only get the extra 1 for pushing it if this was your icon that you prayed
Okay.
to today.
Got it. That's right. Okay, I got 1 out of it, so I get maybe an inkling.
So I will say it doesn't seem like Dabaron's a great pick. I mean, it's for activities there. I mean, you don't see anything like that. But between you and Kef, there are all the subtle signs of Baltabek being a planted agitator. Like the arriving, the loud call, like clearly that someone there is pushing buttons.
The other members of the group, how important are they? And I suppose how important is Rahani's family?
Rahani's family is mid-range. I would say the other members are nobody from any of the higher noble houses. They're all standard sort of mid-range dissatisfied Zenithians who maybe haven't gotten all the fruits of the empire that they would have wanted.
They haven't been handed to them, like when they hit age 14.
That's right. And we're going to leave off there as you kind of do that, as we see outside the ship where you guys are meeting. We'll see one of those Syndicate people like looking at stuff, like they have the scans, they're the cameras on your ship, and someone goes, why are they looking into this Zenithian supremacist group?
Uh-oh.
And that's where we'll leave off for today, okay? Except we're going to get experience points.
Yeah. Get that XP. Is it the same as we need 5?
Need 5 to get a talent or to raise a skill.
We need a payment too.
Yes. I'll work out the payment on that next time. Does that seem fair?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, we'll be kind of flush with cash because he paid for your monthly maintenance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. See, he's so nice. We should make him a patron.
Look, I'm coming around to him.
Yeah.
Did you participate in the session? Yes, you get an experience point.
Woohoo.
Did you overcome a difficult challenge, Sherry?
I did, with lots of darkness points. Boy.
Okay, so there's a point. Sherry, did you put yourself or the crew at risk because of your personal problem?
Let's see here. Well, I was trying to solve every problem, right? So, yeah, I think
Is busybody your personal problem?
pretty much. I mean, essentially, I'm a social climber, so I have to keep everyone happy. I think
I'll give you a point.
Okay.
Did you learn something new about yourself or another PC?
Let's see here. Gosh, Yelchin and I didn't have a particular moment. So no, I'll say no, I didn't get that point. So I will remember to steer for that. That was my...
Did you sacrifice or risk something for your PC buddy?
I went on a wild goose chase for my PC buddy, the captain, Gazi.
Yes. Did you act in accordance with your icon?
The faceless, I infiltrated like a crazy person.
That you did. There's another point. Let us come to Yelchin. Yelchin, did you overcome a difficult challenge?
I don't think so.
Okay. You wouldn't say the whole thing with the tablet?
I don't know. I mean, we had the contact and we had to, we worked it, but I don't think it was particularly difficult, was
Okay.
it?
Did you put yourself or the crew at risk because of your personal problem?
Certainly
Yes.
tried.
Did you learn something new about yourself or another PC?
I don't think so.
Didn't learn that this hunger for archaeology is stronger maybe than you thought?
Oh, yeah, I guess we could. Yeah, that works.
Certainly, you kept pushing for that. That's the lead that you bit onto.
Mm-hmm.
Did you sacrifice or risk something for your PC buddy?
So my PC buddy is Kef, so no.
Okay. Did you act in accordance with your icon?
The dancer. So the dancer's about what? Perseverance, inspiration, and perseverance. Yeah, maybe you could say that.
Okay.
I should have stuck with getting the tablet, getting the fake, and following that thread.
Oh yeah, no, you had a complicated plan, so that seemed like the dancer's thing. So I'll give you a point.
Okay.
Fraser, did you overcome a difficult challenge?
I don't think so.
You were doing a lot of assisting today, is what you're doing.
He made
Yeah.
it through all those courses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you put yourself or the crew at risk because of your personal problem?
No, my personal problem didn't really come up. You
Not
have a
yet.
dark secret that could turn everyone against you.
All right, we haven't had. Next time you'll be on the station for more time, so
Yeah.
maybe we'll have a chance to engage with that. Did you learn something new about yourself or another PC?
Yeah, I think we saw a bit about my character as well as the captain and our relationship.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
I noticed Ghazi was incredibly paranoid.
Did you sacrifice or risk something for your PC buddy?
No, I don't think so.
Did you act in accordance with your icon?
Oh, what is my icon? The judge. I
the
don't
judge.
think so. What is
What do you
that
think?
about?
What do you think the judge is about? There are several aspects to him. The revenge is one.
I don't
Says
know.
Justice's realm is, or judge's realm is justice and due punishment.
You were very intent on that, since Bato had to die.
Yeah, I'll give you a point for that because you were repeatedly, Bato must die.
Yeah.
Patrick, did you overcome a difficult challenge?
Well, I mean, I feel like that whole scene with Rahani was at least potentially dangerous, and
you certainly came down to a manipulation check, battling against a legalist negotiator. So yeah, I'll give you a point. Did you put yourself or your crew at risk because of your personal problem? Yes.
Yes. My paranoia put at least half of the crew in a lot of risk.
Did you learn something new about yourself or another PC?
I really loved the stuff with Kef. That whole meal and everything was amazing.
Did you sacrifice or risk something for your PC buddy?
90% of our payment. My PC buddy is Yelchin, and the idea that, supporting him, he could help me understand my own secrets.
Did you act in accordance with your icon?
Merchant? Fuck yeah, I did.
Oh, yeah. Points all around there. I think everybody's at 5, or at least, right?
Yeah, I'm at 6.
Okay. So you can certainly take a look at the talents, and you can certainly look at the skills, and we can do those buys next time.
Question. Talent is cybernetics?
Talent plus money is cybernetics.
Talent plus money is cybernetics.
Second question. Do I have enough money for cybernetics?
I will take a look, but you guys do have some bonus money, not as much as you would have because it was just the 10%.
Well, I have 2 kidneys. I could just sell one, right?
that is certainly a possibility.
We've got a couple free days on the station. Maybe you could drum up some work.
I would say possibly some of the. Well, we'll figure out what the money is, but don't forget there's D6 healing time after you get implants.
Oh.
What were
it'll
you
be a
thinking?
It'll be a long journey, I'm sure. I'm thinking there was something like wired reflexes, something like that.
Accelerated reflexes?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Let me look at the numbers. It might be tight for you. You might have to borrow some from your crewmates to pay for getting yourself cut open.
Oh yeah, it's 7K.
7,000.
Yeah, that's a bit. Okay. Well, how much do you usually get paid per job in this game?
It's usually after the maintenance fees. So what I want to do is figure out how much you would have gotten paid, 10% of that. And then I'll figure out what the maintenance fees would have been, because you'll have that, or rather the captain will have that as free money that he didn't have to spend this month.
Right.
And mind you, he could roll that over, or he could distribute it out among the crew.
Right.
He could do a lot of things.
I like how cybernetic muscles, it's like, your movement rate is increased by 4 meters. Oh, yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
the first thing I noticed looking through this book is that it is real concerned with how your combats are going.
Yeah.
Cannot be combined with sprinter or quick, though. That would make no sense.
Yeah, much like Cypher system, the second that you start telling me movement distances and stuff, I'm like, nope, that's not happening.
Yeah.
So if anybody, don't take anything that has to do with movement distances.
Well, we can just add it to the fiction to justify why you.
Yeah, like
right?
you're always faster than everyone.
Yeah. In Cypher, somebody had a speed thing, and I said, yeah, you can be anywhere you want on the board. There you go. In the scene, you can be wherever you want. Otherwise, they would have had to make a check to see if they could move at a short distance and take an action in Cypher.
Yeah, great.
Well, I don't know exactly what, but I definitely think exposure to this tablet and sort of following that trail is going to start awakening more mystic powers in me.
Oh, I've got that. Sounds good.
I feel like I'm becoming more mystical.
I just get that feeling about myself.
Yeah.
More self-protective, more infiltration.
Do you mind if we do a quick Roses and Thorns?
Sure.
I just want to do that in particular, looking at things we want to see more of, things we want to see less of, or that kind of thing. So we've got 3 more sessions. I definitely want to go to that. This was a kind of a setup session for a lot of things, and we put a couple of different things on the table. So I'd like to go through and do Thorns first. So Patrick, can I start with you?
Sure, right after I meet myself. So Thorns. System-wise, I'll just sort of reiterate what I was saying a minute ago, in that, like, all the setting stuff and all the sort of like interesting bits that I read about this game were so enthralling and drew me in. And then I got in and saw like how much of the book was so over concerned with how your combats were going second by second, and how many like different weapon charts and stuff there are, which I love in some ways, but is sort of like, especially in an online medium, a lot of that stuff can get in the way.
Yeah.
I do think you've deftly negotiated around a lot of those traps, but I could wish the game didn't waste so much time talking about all those niddly little number bits, and then just give like cursory overviews of these fascinating cultural things going on out there.
Yeah, there is a lot of space given to those numbers. The action point thing really worried me when we played it the first time. But I think it's easy to get through once you get it. But yeah, they got a lot of detaily bits there.
I'm having trouble thinking of Thorns for the storyline so far.
Okay, that's fair. Fraser?
The only thorn I can think of is just the layout of the book, to be honest. Like, just when you say it's reference to table 5.1, put the fucking table beside what you're talking about. There's space
Yes.
there, right?
Or have a link in the PDF.
Yeah.
Yeah, no linking in the PDF is a little strange, but in terms of the game, I'm loving it. So
Yeah, I wonder how much of that is whether the translation changed where the order of information was with the tables, or if they were so worried about the translation they didn't, and getting everything in there, that they didn't think through information presentation.
yeah, like when I'm reading the combat stuff, it'll be like, look at table 5.1 for range and stuff, and then it'll be at like 2 pages away or something, and it's a
Yeah.
sidebar anyway. And I'm like, hello, there's
Yeah.
sidebar space on that page you were talking about it, right? What are you doing?
It is weird how that is, and especially because also I find white text on a black background a little bit harder to read, so that's another level of it being more difficult for me. So, Christo Thorns?
I don't know if I have any in particular.
Okay.
I mean, we're using the roller, which makes things a lot easier.
Christo, just so you know, we're trashing trad games right now. So you need to get on board.
This hasn't pushed my trad game buttons, so I don't have any issues with that.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're not like calculating range and whatnot. So
Yeah, and we're never going to calculate range.
no, and turns don't take 20 minutes and whatnot, so I don't have those issues. I mean, we got a fair amount of role play in, even though it wasn't interpersonal, but no, it was interesting. I love all. Yeah, no, sorry, no thorns.
Okay.
If you
All right.
pass over, I'll wait for roses.
Sherry?
So I'll give you, when you read the book, I think the best way to look at it is relative to Shadowrun, this thing is sleek. Okay. But there is that thing of going, a lot of the conventions are going to be that you care about these things. So I get where that's coming from. I think actually the thing to me that's a bit dismaying is that they've taken these terrifically cruel dice, and they got this whole thing of you got to get 3 successes to have a unlimited success. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because that's a super critical awesome success, and if you look at the chances, I'm just like, what?
The die mechanic is shockingly rough.
Yeah. Especially because the book says 1 to 2 successes is limited success.
Yeah.
3 is critical. And I'm like, no, I'm willing to go with 1 success is a success with cost. That's fun. That adds a little complexity to it. But 2 ought to be good, like solid good. And 3 ought to be absolutely amazing, given the dice numbers.
Well,
Yeah.
it's to push us all into pushing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I heard on the G Plus forums for the game, people were saying that like it sometimes scales well, but sometimes people are pushing so much that like there's been a whole bunch of stories of people dying in the first couple sessions. Like they never make it to the first place that they're going to when they're traveling.
From pushing because so many dark points got accumulated or something.
I guess for
Yeah.
the dark points, but also I think like terrible things happen when you're doing the like jump gate stuff and stuff. And it's also, they said, very expensive to do jumps. And yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, we're not worrying about that so much because that's the fun stuff.
Yeah.
We're not going to put barriers in the way of the fun stuff. We'll make it a little challenging, and there'll be some potential, problems. But
So
Yeah.
are you thinking I should put more into my pilot skill?
Yeah.
I don't know. My thorns would be the distance thing. I felt like maybe I felt like maybe I rolled things a little slowly today. I would have liked to have gotten some more things, but at the same time, I put two different tracks in front of you, which I always feel cruel as a GM in doing that. But I wanted to give you guys some choice. So that we'll see. I am definitely, as a GM, filing off the rough corners of the system. And so if you are watching this, if you've gotten to this and you're playing Coriolis and you've gotten to this endpoint, know that I am not doing Coriolis raw. If you are looking for that, let's do roses. Patrick.
I really love this. I love this game. I love this story that we're doing. Like I said, all the stuff with Kef and that meeting was just fucking amazing. I don't know. I feel like I had something else specific, but I just really like the feel that we're building up here. The darkness point mechanics. That's so super fucking cool. I've seen a number of games with that sort of point economy that let the GM do things and they don't always come off right. And I don't know, at least from the player looking in, it feels like that economy is going pretty well. And feels like it's giving you stuff to do, and just that moment when either you casually mention that you've spent a darkness point, or one of us looks at the board and suddenly it's gone down, like that moment is super cool. That's a really neat emotional impact of a mechanical effect.
Yeah, it very much my thinking is, rather than going to the specific list or things like that, and there are some good things for that in the blow by blow area, but that's you're fueling my soft and hard moves. You're giving me the points to pay for those, and I like that.
And that's very much what it feels like. It feels like PBTA, 6 minuses or mixed successes, but rather than happening at the whim of the dice, they're getting banked up with you, and you get to decide when they roll out. And that's a little more load on the GM, because rather than just relying on randomness, you have to make the decision of when the drama is going to move forward in certain ways. But if you've got a handle on it, and I think you've got a handle on those sorts of things, Lowell, it can be sort of beautiful that failure or partial from way back at the beginning of the session is now coming around to bite us here at the end.
Yeah. Fraser, roses?
Yeah, similar. I think the points are really organic, and it feels kind of like the same sort of Blades in the Dark thing, where he's trying to make friction from all the movements in the fiction. It's the same thing, except you're just injecting them as story beats whenever you need them. I think it works really well. I really like the world and discovering it. This is what is really exciting to me about it, and sometimes what is missing when I play fantasy games, because we're so steeped in fantasy tropes and stuff like that. It doesn't really feel like you're actually adventuring something, because you always know what's happening. Usually the curveball is a monster or whatever, right? Whereas this is all the food is new, the station, the architecture, the cultures, everything is really interesting and new and vivid and awesome. So I'm playing it.
I'm loving all the moments when we stop the play for a bit and are like, wait, what's this thing? Let's talk about this interesting wording. What is it?
A Christo.
I like all the food descriptions and stuff like that. I thought that was really interesting. We had a lot of vibrant food conversations this time around. I'm guessing we're all hungry. I don't know.
Yes, there is that.
Regarding the book itself, I picked up the PDF just last night. I found it on sale at the Free Liga site. Picked it up. It's beautiful. There's issues with the linking and whatnot, but it's definitely beautiful, and it provides all the pictures to help you sort of get into the cultural aspect of it. From there, if we're going with the Space Arabian Nights theme, it shows you what that might look like, and it's really cool looking. So
yeah, definitely.
Sherry?
So I like this group. I love essentially when we hit the investigation points and stuff, that it's this crazy mix of people asking insightful questions on point and other people spinning off because that's what their character would do. So you've got this kind of, it's just this amazing jumble of things to interact with, and it's super fun. So
Yeah, I'm going to say I had a good time today because I love sessions where you get to interact with NPCs and figure things out and make decisions. I love you guys giving me the space to do, the restaurant and the club, and the meeting there with the expert. And so that's all the kind of stuff that I love to do as a GM. So you guys are good players, and you let me do the things that I really dig as a GM. So good session.
Yeah, I thought that you were really good with all those descriptions, and you're clearly like familiar with some of that stuff, so it feels like really organic, right?
Yeah, I love, so much good stuff. Yeah. Good session. I'm looking
Descriptions around tea alone were just
yes. I love food descriptions in games. I think that's one of the most overlooked evocative moments in play. So, all right, I'm going to stop the broadcast and go eat right now.